I've been searching about these topics over the last few days after I made my Lincoln Loud video, and by the looks of it, this is another example onto why that my passion of making videos has become much lower than it already has. So, if it wasn't obvious enough, HBO Max had removed nearly 40 shows from its platform, and the majority of the shows were Cartoon Network shows. And considering it's mostly the Warner Brothers Discovery executives making these decisions, it's honestly astounding that no other company, including Nickelodeon, which even though they did terrible things to their shows, this really feels like a completely different story, to the point that it just makes Nickelodeon somewhat the second worst company when it comes to treating its cartoons, because at the very least, I can understand that they wanted to make SpongeBob the number one cartoon, no matter how it affects the company. But with this, they instantly just went completely overboard. Like, I need to be real with you. The merging streaming services is something that people need to get accustomed to, and I can understand it's supposed to have some major changes, but the way I see it, the fact that they just canceled cartoons, even though they were really successful, is further proof that anything can instantly kill hope. And in this case, Warner Bros. Discovery, or Discovery itself, is just completely murdering hope for me, or any other excitement in the animation industry when they treat animation as nothing, which there is no way you can convince me that out of all these years, they would see animation as nothing, especially since that over the last 2 years, even when the pandemic was taking full effect, HBO Max was probably one of the best things to ever happen in the year 2020. And I say that because ever since I've been using HBO Max in 2020, I was enjoying it, to the point that I've been using that instead of pirating other shows. Whenever I look at HBO Max, it really feels like it's one of the best streaming services of all time in the span of 2 years. It's even better than Netflix, Hulu, and possibly Disney Plus. That's how much I really feel like this is pretty much one of the biggest streaming services at the moment. And I can guarantee you that it would have been a lot more interesting to see how the company would be as the years gone by. Granted, though, is going to be hiccups along the way, but not this hiccup. Let me tell you. We all know that last year in April, the last season of Infinity Train came out, and by the looks of it, I really want to hope that this show will at least come back, at least in the next few years. But with this information coming out, and when we realize that Cartoon Network have removed the pilot of Infinity Train that they've uploaded back in 2016, this is where the hope is modeling from the likes of the executives. And I'm being serious. You cannot convince me to believe that if the executives who made these decisions will listen to the criticism and the massive backlash of Infinity Train fans, especially since that Infinity Train was one of the best shows when it comes to kids/adults content from HBO Max, then I'm pretty sure that they did, but they just didn't even bother. They didn't even bother. After nearly a year, and then we come to this conclusion that shows like Infinity Train and others have been taken out of HBO Max, it just makes me convinced that no matter what we do, it doesn't make a difference. Seriously, the petitions, the videos that we make, it's not going to make any difference. And for me personally, it's just going to make me lose any hope in anything, regardless if we have a voice. And when it comes to other shows like Close Enough and Mao Mao, not really Mao Mao, I didn't watch that show, but I'm gonna get to that soon. those shows being removed is honestly difficult to believe, knowing full well of how successful those shows were in their own rights. But when they got canceled at the very last minute and they got removed, it's really unbelievable, especially since that in seasons 3 and 4 of Infinity Train were exclusive to HBO Max. And then when we see Close Enough being the exclusive show of HBO Max being removed, it's really, really difficult to think that this merging thing won't be able to work. It just doesn't work. And for people who do not watch these shows, mainly Maro, Heroes of Pure Heart, and the fact that they didn't get a second season after 2 years, it's really, really difficult to believe that we're ever going to see any of these shows having a time to shine, even if they're not one of the best for the entire audience. And what I mean is, people are really invested with these types of shows, like Steven Universe, for example. I gotta be honest with you, one of the reasons why that I've given up on that I'm completely burned out into making more videos than necessary was for different reasons. Like, I've been taking a lot out of me, but with these informations that these shows are being removed from the surfaces, and people who don't know how to pilot can't be able to find these shows, is honestly disappointing and really depressing if you ask me. Especially with all the trouble that these viewers who spend most of the time watching these shows from Cartoon Network on TV or on HBO Max. And it's difficult to think that shows like Elliot from Earth end up being canceled after 1 season. Now, if that's really the case, I'm not sure, but after all these years, I don't even know what to think anymore, other than the fact that there was potential, but the hope of that potential is just being erased. And with the pilots of Infinity Train being gone from Cartoon Network, I don't even understand what the executives were thinking. Like, when it comes to Nickelodeon, regardless if they made newer shows and if they're similar from one another, at the very least, I can understand that the businesses were a lot more understandable than Discovery. Because if you want me to believe that they're removing these shows because it's not appealing to adults, even though it's completely far from the case that nearly every single cartoon has been appealing to adults. Like, look at the My Little Pony fandom, and Bronies will give you the entire answer, then I really don't even know if I'm going to be able to enjoy this merging between Discovery Plus and HBO Max. Especially since that Summer Camp Island, its final season, is premiering next year on HBO Max, and by the looks of it, I don't even think that there's a slight chance that we're going to see the final season. And whenever I look at information like this, it's difficult to instantly see that all these changes in executives' decisions completely happening with HBO Max and Cartoon Network. Then I can't really give my own perspective on the show itself if it doesn't have the respect it deserves. Like, we do give respect to these shows if we're into it, but if they're being treated like this by the executives, we can't do anything about it. And shows like OKKO, regardless if it got canceled due to different reasons, myself really feels like that this show would have been a lot more better if it didn't get removed from HBO Max. Like, I'm watching the show midway into season 2, and it's slowly than the other shows I've been binge watching, and then when it got removed, I have to resort on pirating. Like, the fact that people had to resort to pirating as the only alternative instead of just watching a show from HBO Max that has been removed is honestly a different story, that pirating isn't really a bad thing regardless of what other people think. Like, I really, really think that these removal of these shows aren't really a good idea when they actually have an audience of their own. Like, I know that not every single cartoon is gonna be like Steven Universe or We Bare Bears or something that becomes the next big thing to become the next big thing, but seriously, this is the type of information that I really do not approve whatsoever, when we're just going to expect what's going to happen once the merger takes full effect. Like, if these shows do return, it won't make a difference because the production is completely gone, and when it comes to reuniting the production, I don't even think it's going to be the same as it was in the past. Like, these interesting ideas and the fact that they're being removed despite them being trending in no time is further proof that the executives don't even see the quality in animation. Like, is it because it's 2D and 3D is mainstream when it comes to theatrical releases? No. I don't even think that's really the case. I've been convinced that out of all the shows I've seen, they would not get this type of treatment whatsoever, especially that 3D animation is a lot more expensive. And when I made my video centering around We Baby Bears being better than Camp Koala, you should really understand that there's a passion when it comes to these types of medias. And whenever I see information that after the HBO Max removal, Infinity Train DVDs are sold out and going for wire prices on eBay, it's honestly one of those examples that if we don't have a streaming service involving a show that we really wanted to watch, then we had to go through other alternatives that is difficult to look at. And I've stopped getting these DVDs ever since that these streaming services became a thing. And the fact that we may get information that these shows will never, I repeat, never be part of any streaming services in the future, then I don't even know if there's any other way to watch. Then I don't even think that getting a DVD or buying it online is going to be completely worth it, because it just sucks up the entire passion of what these creators have put in. Like, whenever I think about these shows, I just instantly think about the HBO Max removal, and I do not blame or go against any of the animators or the creators who made all of these shows. They were getting a huge disservice to the point that it just makes the Nickelodeon executives a lot more compassion, even in one of the most horrendous of ways. Like, Nickelodeon may have turned in SpongeBob as their cash cow over the last 2 decades, and they made the Lighthouse a jumping shark show, but whenever I look at this, there is no jumping the shark. There isn't. They're just making these changes because the executives of Discovery do not see anything of what we have seen, and at this point, it's really, really getting old. Like, if you really want me to believe that watching these shows on piloting instead of just instantly just watching them on streaming services, then I don't even know what to expect. If anything, it's further proof that I can't be able to find any interest into these shows if the executives are treating this much disrespect towards the animators. I know I'm being a bit harsh when it comes to me being burnt out into watching these shows, but at the same time, I haven't been making a lot of videos lately, and when it comes to the video that I've uploaded recently, I know the majority of those views are from the people in the comment section instead of the video itself. Let me tell you, I know this has nothing to do with the video itself, but I didn't make this entire video for the sake of adding drama between Link and Loud. I only made that video to give out my own perspective on the entire subject, and there's a reason onto why that video is nearly 7 hours long. You can take your time with it and actually give out your own perspective on portions of the video and my opinion of it. not the topic itself. And it's fine if you want to talk about the topic, but please do not make an argument in the comment section, because if anything, if that's literally the only thing that this video is good at, then that's honestly cruel. Like, I may not be the best when it comes to making videos, but seriously, I'm avoiding copyright. I'm trying to do different things in order to succeed. And if that same indication applies to animators, regardless if they have a bigger job compared to I do, then you can instantly tell that my passion and the pride that I have is just slowly dying down, and I can't be able to find any hope after watching newer shows along the way. Like, whenever I look at the situation in HBO Max, it just makes me convinced that there is no hope whatsoever when it comes to newer streaming services. HBO Max has become one of the best things to happen in 2020, and now we're in a position where they're just removing cartoons, not thinking about the quality in those cartoons, and regardless if a show has becoming the best thing, the best aspects of that streaming service, and they just remove it like it's nothing, then I don't even know what to believe. And whenever I look at the information involving how Infinity Train got canceled because it's not appealing to kids, then it's further proof that there's no other way to make a normal cartoon while surpassing all the executives who have a chance on canceling it. Like, LGBT material is taboo. I understand that. And I can understand that having an adult audience is a huge step for a cartoon in order to get some attention. But when they're being treated like this, I don't even think that I'm going to be able to find any interest into watching these shows again. And the way I see it, when Nickelodeon treat its cartoons, it really feels like that they just didn't know how to handle adult themes, which is why they're focusing on kids' themes. And the sad morality is happening with Cartoon Network, HBO Max, and Warner Brothers Discovery. I don't know about you, but I'm going to be taking time off a lot more than usual. Like, I'm possibly going to be making videos for this year, and I did plan on making videos at the end of my Lincoln Loud video, but this is the type of examples onto why I'm not making more videos. Another example onto why I'm not making more videos. And to be honest with you, even if you're not a fan of the Loud House or Lincoln Loud entirely, I didn't make this video to waste your time. I actually put some effort into reviewing the episodes that people pretty much wanted me to review ever since I got into the Loud House, and combining them into one video wasn't to overstay the video's welcome. It's supposed to give my own perspective on the show itself and the character Lincoln Loud. If I can give out my perspective out of everything, then I'm pretty sure that my perspective on HBO Max shouldn't be an issue. So with that being said, I'm taking my time as usual. I'm not going to be making any videos for the next few weeks or so. I mean, there could be one video, but it's not a review. And with this merging happening, then I really cannot be able to put through with these changes, because I really don't. If anything, it just makes me lose hope in animation rather than what the artists and the creators have put the passion into. So with that being said, if you want to take this video out of anything, then all I can say is that animation is instantly being killed, not because of the executives, but by hope.